When refusing to quit becomes your superpower, welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, like sweet softness whispered in French, and I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I want to talk about something that doesn't get enough airtime in conversations about healing and softness. We talk a lot about rest, about boundaries, about saying no, and we should. But there's another side to this coin that's just as sacred, just as necessary. It's the part where you refuse to quit, where you decide in the middle of the storm that giving up is not an option, where you look devastation in the face and say, not today. I had the opportunity to sit down with Whitney Prillaman-Lynch. And let me tell you, this conversation rearranged something in my spirit. Whitney is someone who understands what it means to survive and then turn that survival into a mission. She's making the world a better place by showing up, by refusing to let trauma have the final word, by using her story to light the way for others. Her work in trauma recovery and resilience has touched countless lives, and what she shared with me, what we're going to unpack today, is this: resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you choose over and over again, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Let's be honest. Most of us, we were raised to be strong, to carry the weight, to hold it together no matter what. And for a long time, we did. We held down jobs, raised kids, managed households, showed up for everybody. We became experts at survival. But here's the thing: nobody tells you survival mode has an expiration date. You can only run on fumes for so long before your body, your mind, your spirit starts sending you invoices. And when those invoices come due, you have a choice. You can collapse under the weight, or you can refuse to quit and start rebuilding. Whitney Prillaman-Lynch taught me that refusing to quit doesn't mean you're still in survival mode. It means you've decided that your healing, your peace, your future is worth fighting for. It means you're not letting the trauma write the ending. You are. Now, I want to share three stories with you. Three chapters in one woman's life who refused to quit, who turned her pain into power, who rebuilt after devastation. And I want you to see yourself in her, because if she can do it, so can you. The first story is about a woman named Whitney Wolfe Herd. You might know her as the founder of Bumble, but before she was a billionaire, before she was ringing the NASDAQ bell with her baby on her hip, she was a 22-year-old woman enduring verbal abuse and control at Tinder, a company she helped build from the ground up. She was harassed by a co founder she had dated. The environment became so toxic, so suffocating, that she resigned. And then she did something that a lot of people wouldn't have had the courage to do. She filed a sexual discrimination lawsuit in 2014. She settled for over $1 million. But she didn't stop there. She could have taken that money and disappeared. She could have let the trauma silence her. She could have accepted that this was just how the world worked, that powerful men get to behave however they want, and women just have to survive it. Instead, she sketched out an idea for a women first dating app. She called it Merci at first, then pivoted to Bumble. She partnered with Andre Andreev, even though he held 79% of the company, and she had to fight for every inch of power, every decision, every voice at the table. By 2020, Bumble had 100 million users. By 2021, she became the youngest self made female billionaire at 31 years old. She rang that NASDAQ bell with her son on her hip, and she did it as the youngest woman to ever lead a United States IPO. She was named to Forbes 30 Under 30 in 2017 and 2018, Time 100 in 2018, and became a symbol of what's possible when you refuse to let your past dictate your future. Here's what gets me about her story. She didn't just survive the abuse, she used it. She turned her awareness of harm, of manipulation, of power imbalances into a moral compass. She built an app that put women in control. She revolutionized the dating industry by creating a platform where women message first, where safety and equity weren't afterthoughts but foundational principles. She refused to let what happened to her define her, but she also refused to pretend it didn't matter. She let it sharpen her, she let it refine her voice. And that voice changed an entire industry. That's what Whitney Prillaman-Lynch was talking about when she said healing sharpens your awareness. When you've been through hell, you can spot the smoke from a mile away. You know what manipulation looks like, you know what control feels like. And instead of being afraid of it, you become the person who calls it out. You become the person who protects others from it. Your past doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you. The second story is about what happened after Whitney Wolfe Herd built Bumble. Because building something is one thing, sustaining it while the world tries to tear you down is another. She faced ongoing sexism in the tech industry. She had to navigate investor pressures, power imbalances, and a valuation that shifted to $3 billion in 2019. She had a minority stake in her own company, but she didn't quit. She focused on growth. By 2015, Bumble had 80 million matches. By 2019, it had 75 million users. She transitioned to CEO, then to executive chair in 2024, and then came back as CEO in 2025 after an interim leadership change. She built a self made fortune that ranked her number 33 on Forbes' richest women list in 2022. She launched Bumble Mag in 2019. She was named to Ella Women in Tech in 2016 and Bloomberg's 50 Most Influential in 2021. But here's the part that matters most. She didn't do any of this by pretending the trauma didn't happen. She didn't do it by putting on a cape and acting like she was invincible. She did it by refusing to quit, by showing up even when she was fragile, by using her trauma awareness to create safer dynamics in her company, even when she didn't have full control. After the 2014 lawsuit settlement, she moved to Austin. She rejected the easy silence. She could have taken the payout and faded into the background, but instead, she used her clarity, her sharpened awareness to build something that would protect other women from what she endured. She chose the hard work of rebuilding. And she did it while being a mother, while balancing a life that was far from perfect, while navigating a world that still questioned whether women belonged in tech leadership. That's the lesson. Healing doesn't mean you're suddenly whole and untouchable. It means you're clear enough to see the traps. You're strong enough to avoid them. You're brave enough to keep going even when the odds are stacked against you. And that clarity, that strength, that bravery, it doesn't come from pretending you're fine. It comes from refusing to quit when everything in you wants to. The third story is about Whitney Wolfe Herd's IPO and beyond, because this is where the magic really happens. This is where survival turns into legacy. She nearly lost everything after leaving Tinder. She could have stayed down, but she didn't. She went public in 2021, even though she was still fragile, even though she had an 18-month-old baby, even though the world was watching and waiting for her to fail. She became the youngest self made female billionaire. She rang that bell as the youngest IPO leader in history. She shattered barriers with unyielding persistence. And when she stepped down as CEO in 2023, she didn't disappear. She came back in 2025 because quitting was never an option. Before Tinder, she worked in orphanages. She launched nonprofits at 20 years old. After the abuse, she harnessed what she calls survival mode focus to scale Bumble globally. From 15 million conversations in 2015 to 75 million users in 2019. She didn't just rebuild, she redefined what was possible. And she did it by modeling trauma to leadership for Black professionals, for women, for anyone who's ever been told their past disqualifies them. Here's what Whitney Prillaman-Lynch wants you to understand. Your survival story qualifies you to lead. It qualifies you to speak. It qualifies you to help others. Persistence through devastation proves that anyone can rebuild and thrive. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to refuse to quit. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking that's great for them, but I'm tired. I've been strong for too long. I don't have anything left. And I hear you. I see you. But here's the truth: refusing to quit doesn't mean you can't rest. It doesn't mean you can't set boundaries. It doesn't mean you can't say no. It means that even in your rest, even in your softness, even in your healing, you're still moving forward. You're still choosing yourself. You're still deciding that your story doesn't end in survival mode, it ends in freedom. This is your soft girl era. This is where you learn to be soft in a world that taught you survival. This is where you release the cape, redefine strength, embrace softness, heal in real time, protect your peace, and turn your pain into purpose. And none of that happens if you quit. Think about the women who came before you, the ones who survived things they should never have had to survive, the ones who kept going even when the world told them to sit down, the ones who rebuilt after devastation, who raised children in the middle of chaos, who pursued dreams while carrying grief. They didn't quit, and neither will you. Because here's the thing about refusing to quit: it's not about being superhuman. It's not about never feeling tired or overwhelmed or broken. It's about deciding that your healing matters, that your peace matters, that your future matters. It's about looking at everything you've survived and saying, I didn't come this far to stop now. Your scars are not wounds, they are sharpened weapons for leadership. Your past is not a disqualification, it is your greatest qualification. And your refusal to quit is not stubbornness, it is sacred. So here's what I need you to do right now, today, this week: commit to one no quit decision. Maybe it's finally scheduling that therapy appointment you've been putting off. Maybe it's speaking up against something unfair at work. Maybe it's enrolling in that class you've been too scared to take. Maybe it's just getting out of bed on the hard days and deciding that today you're going to keep going. Track it, write it down, tell someone about it, because your kids are watching, your community is watching. And more importantly, you're watching. You're learning what you're capable of. And trust me, it's more than you think. I want you to leave here today feeling something you maybe haven't felt in a while. I want you to feel fired up, unbreakably resilient, fiercely hopeful. I want you to see your scars not as reminders of what broke you, but as proof of what didn't. I want you to know that your past refines your voice, it doesn't silence it. And I want you to be ready to persist, to rebuild, to thrive, just like Whitney Prillaman-Lynch, just like Whitney Wolfe Herd, just like every woman who's ever refused to let devastation have the final word. The world is not waiting for you to be perfect, it's waiting for you to be persistent. It's waiting for you to show up, scars and all, and say, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still building, and I'm not quitting. So rise, not because it's easy, not because you have all the answers, but because you refuse to let your story end in survival mode. You're writing a new ending, one where you win, one where you heal, one where you thrive. The question is not whether you can do it. The question is, will you? Will you commit to one no quit decision today? Will you track it, honor it, and let it be the first brick in the foundation of your new life? Your future is waiting. And it's time to stop surviving and start thriving. Refuse to quit. Your superpower depends on it.